Good old Kaub, the first map I ever played in Gus and Blackpowder, and it's about time this map and its related badges gets a fresh coat of paint as a new guide. There are two badges we will be covering for today. First up is Confederation of the Undead, whereby you survive Kaub in one life, obviously what the majority of this guide is focused on. Then a secondary badge, If I Had a Brain. This is where you get crushed underneath the drawbridge of the castle, and it's also a cute little reference to the Wizard of Oz. I will make sure to highlight it when we get to that badge since it is a little later in the map. And alas, as is tradition, we will take a listen to the NPC Dialogue of this map. Behold, for it is Herr Michel Gebhardt Leberek von Blücher and the Guard Diffuse Officer.
Nimm es jetzt. Beende es. Beende es für Preußen. Diese Teufel sind im Keller unter uns eingesperrt. Sobald ihr das Schloss erobert, werden wir den Weg für den Rest der Armee sichern.
Herr Feldmarschall?
And no, the Guard Diffuse Officer is not named Carl. You lie to yourself. And sorry if I butchered that, by the way. Anyhow, let's dive right into the map. For team composition, you want around 2 to 3 sappers, and for this map specifically, I would recommend seamen with grenade launchers. I will tell you why later, but just keep that in mind, especially if you're going to be respawning. Now, to start with, everyone spawns in this cutesy patootsy church. However, one step outside and to the left, you will find yourself facing off against some zombies. Be wary that they spawn pretty thick throughout Kaub, so watch yourself and your teammates. Bombers spawn plenty here too, so be careful. You don't want to be the guy that melees bombers right after spawning in. You don't want to be that guy. Really, for this first bit, you're just going to be clearing out zombies by the handful. Inside the house too, be careful of zombie spawning and out in the balcony area. And I cannot stress this enough, be wary of bombers, okay? They are everywhere in this first part, so just be careful. They will be hiding around every single corner you could possibly conceive of. And they only appear there when you aren't thinking about them, by the way, because bombers are sneaky like that. Once your team has cleared out the zombies, or at least the ones inside the house, you can get cracking with the supplies. I'll suggest the simple strategy of targeting one room full of supplies. It's like one guy targets one room, one guy targets the next room, something like that. Pressing C or your objective key highlights all the items that aren't yet on the cart. Do note that for Kaub it's a bit different for Roscoff, where you collect the charges. In here, it doesn't matter if someone's already grabbed it and they're still walking with it. It's if it's not on the cart, then it will still be highlighted. That's how it works there. Once you've cleared a room, I'd suggest keeping the door open or like breaking it down, like after you grab all the supplies in the room, just as a non-verbal way of telling your teammates, I got all the crap in this room, so don't bother. Because obviously the highlights work differently in Kaub. Something much easier to do when chat wasn't restricted, like George Orwell's 1984, because you could actually tell your teammates, hey, I finished this room. But of course they want us to have a more difficult time. Then simply bring down the supplies from either one of the rooms, or the delicious legs hanging from the ceiling downstairs, and place them on the cart. And of course, while your team is doing that as a sapper, you might want to start placing barricades and stakes right where that invisible wall is at the end of the street. It's a good spot for defenses, considering the cart sits right in front of it at the next objective. Also on that note, throughout the map's progression, zombies will periodically spawn from behind, so don't dawdle, be wary. Okay, if you don't grab all the supplies from upstairs, it's kind of like when you don't grab all the planks in San Sebastian. Then if you have to go back up, it can be a little tricky, so just be wary of that. Now your team has enough brain cells rubbed together to have everything on the cart, and you've pushed it through to the next section. Congratulations, you're doing pretty well. Zombies are always hanging around downstairs in this like cellar area, so I would suggest chucking some grenades down there. Tar bottles bounce a bit too much, so I'd recommend the grenade launcher for this part. That's why grenade launcher, awesome sauce. Then of course, go through slashing the zombies, and up into the courtyard as well. Once again, just be wary of bombers, please. Now on to the part that can really make or break a team. There are yet again more supplies. Pressing C will allow you to see them all. I'll suggest a similar system of having one room, then knocking down the door as an indication. Then of course, when you have enough supplies, you want to go and wait by the barricaded door downstairs. Once enough teammates have all the supplies ready at the door, then shoot the cannon and quickly make your way to the cart. Do note that carrying these supplies will slow you down, same thing with the house supplies. So if you are in a rush, like in the case where someone doesn't want to do teamwork and actually prematurely fires the cannon, using a charge just negates all negative slowing effects of carrying the supplies. So if you're in a hurry, just charge and you'll just sprint, holding like 1,000 things, which is pretty funny. And of course, while your teammates are getting those supplies, while they're delving into the cellar, sappers need to get to work constructing stakes and barricades at this small hole here. Once the cannon is fired, zombies will begin pouring through, so make sure you are ready. The reason why you want to wait to fire the cannon is to make everyone's lives easier and to minimize the chance of someone dying unnecessarily, considering the part up next is usually a death sentence for some teams. And of course, in this part people always forget to get supplies from every room, so like make sure to press C, highlight those things, make sure you see where everything is. There's like one thing downstairs, 2 rooms straight ahead from the stairs, like to the left of the stairs going upstairs, then 2 rooms to the right of the stairs, like going straight from the stairs. So make sure you get everything. With the supplies on the cart, eventually, you and your team can begin the next part, pulling down the barricade by walking back with the rope. Sappers should kind of deconstruct their barricades by now, but just making sure that there's enough to hold the zombies back, and be ready at the front of that wall, as well as a fair few other teammates. The second that wall is down, the sappers and some helpful friends should push through the zombies and begin setting up defenses as soon as possible. This makes everyone's lives much easier. The standard is usually a nice wall of barricades along this part here, and if you have the spare sapper for the job, some stakes and barricades down by this other zombie spawn can usually do some good. Note that sappers also want to place at least stakes or some other buildings in the tunnel that you came from, just for those zombies that periodically spawn behind you, because they can be a little bit of a nuisance sometimes. There will also be a ton of zombies already in there, and they'll begin spawning almost immediately through this like doorway hole thing, I don't know what to call it. So get cracking on those defenses. The rest of the team needs to cover the advance and push the cart into the next area. With the sappers and the majority of the team focused on holding the defenses, because there's a fair few zombies here and teams usually die here, so please just listen, hold those defenses, and a small number of people should work on the cannon. 2 players is usually more than enough, one to fire and load with the round shot, the other to swap the cannon, but honestly it can be done by 1 player easily. You want to make sure to aim and shoot down the pieces of wood on the barricade, and make sure you do it quickly. Zombies spawn quite a lot in this area, and if your team has already suffered casualties it can be even more difficult. And do also note that bombers like to spawn from behind, so that's why I recommend those stakes, so just be wary. When the lads on the cannon destroy the door, they should go out and make sure no zombies are present on that riverbank or the bridge. Other teammates should focus on pushing the cart and helping the sappers. Said sappers need to begin deconstructing their buildings and following suit, covering the team's retreat across the river. Anyone who wants the "If I Had a Brain" badge, ensure to pay attention and jump in front of the cart for this part. Just be careful moving around the cart though, because the bridge is awful skinny and I've seen quite a few people just like fall off it, me included. So, arriving at the drawbridge, every player should go ahead and grab some grenades. Every player. I don't care who you are, it is free grenades. Free! I have a video on the grenades linked in the top right, but I mean, come on. 3 free grenades? You've got to be an idiot if you don't pass that up. And anyone can grab them too, you can be a chaplain and grab some grenades. Like, it's free, go grab them. Players who want the "If I Had a Brain" badge don't really need the grenades, they're like the one exception to people who shouldn't be grabbing them, since they have to die anyway. So players should stand right up on the edge of the bridge underneath the drawbridge. As for the rest of the players, I'll suggest entering first person and throwing the grenades from the top of the cart to get it into the hole. It requires a bit of finesse to get right, I'm not exactly perfect at it, but it is the first major bonus of the grenade launcher. Using it here, you can very easily just aim and shoot the grenade right into the target, easily blowing the drawbridge down, making this part 1,000 times easier. Also, do remember that your own grenades can deal damage to you, so don't stand near them. And also, I'm adding like so many things, also keep an eye on any zombies that may be coming in from behind, because you don't really want to get ambushed on a really skinny bridge. When the drawbridge lands down, anyone who gets crushed by it will receive the "If I Had a Brain" badge. Congratulations. Now for everyone else who's a little more serious, let's keep going. Notice that you don't need to push the cart all the way into the castle, just like a little nudge and then the cart moves by itself, like with magic, into the castle. Reason why I mention that is because the cart has collision, so if you try and charge in with the cart, you can have some trouble. You know, you can't retreat from a bomber and you might die. So just be wary of that. Because inside that castle, I swear, there are like 1 million bombers, okay? So just be careful. Speaking of, when you push through, be very wary of the amount of zombies just chilling. All I can say really for this part is follow the castle structure, stick close to your teammates, don't get yourself ambushed or close to a bomber, because we know how teammates are shooting bombers right next to you. Like, the bombers in this part are really tricky. They love hiding. Just make your way up to the tower, that's sort of all you gotta focus on. Be extra careful in like those staircase areas, the zombies can be relentless. However, once you are finally in the castle, you want to carefully and slowly make your way up to the top. Sappers, of course, being the unique special kid of the class, should make their way down and begin building barricades and stakes. I recommend placing a pattern of stakes and barricades at the top of each staircase section, and a barricade behind the locked cellar for your teammates to fight from. I'll show you how that works a bit later. The rest of the team should make their way up carefully, making sure to shoot down any bombers in the way. And finally, we meet our goat Blücher. He gives us the key to the cellar. You should leave at least 2 teammates up here because Blücher actually turns into a viral, spoilers, so if you want to make sure he is taken care of. The rest of the team should make their way down to the sappers and the cellar. You can open the cellar with the key and make your way down. I recommend making sure zombies, which are around 1.5 openings before the big door, are killed off. You only want to go further when all the barricades and sapper buildings are complete, because that will begin the finale. Once the finale begins, you want to get the hell out of the cellar and begin defending. And while you are retreating, that's usually like a good time to throw your free grenades, because like all the zombies are going to be in that one choke point and you can very easily just lob them in there. If you have a lance or spontoon, or hell even a bayonet, and your sapper has oh so lovingly placed a barricade here, like next to the cellar door, it is a great place to stab at the zombies through the floor. Same with any old melee really as well. And the good part about this part is that bombers explode underneath because they're like, oh, okay, there's people right above me. The best course of action is to just blow up here so I don't do anything right. Do note that the bomber, like every time the bomber explodes there, it will destroy the barricade, so just be wary of that sapper, you may have to continue rebuilding that. Now here is where one of my favorite strategies comes into play, using the grenade launcher, and it especially works well with multiple seamen. You can just spam grenades down into the cellar. Honestly, one of the most effective and fun strategies I think I've ever covered. I mean, how is spamming grenades ever not fun? It is even more efficient if you have a Fifer helping with the reload speed, but of course, you will need other teammates to help deal with the excess of zombies. Otherwise, make sure to take down the zombies as they come. Be wary of igniters that will spawn. So like if you have a chaplain or something, make sure they have a water bucket ready. And use the barricades up the staircase as room to retreat if the zombies get the advantage. Just make sure not to let them push you too far back because you only have a limited amount of space. Because it's a staircase. Staircases don't go all the way up to heaven. If you make sure to hold the defense long enough, you will eventually take out all the zombies in the cellar. Go you! Now, of course, for the final objective, you want to raise the Prussian flag to signal the castle as being safe. And with that, if you do all that in one life, you will have succeeded in getting the Confederation of the Undead badge. So congratulations. It's not easy, but it also isn't St. Petersburg, so it's very much possible. Thank you for watching as always, ladies and gentlemen. Hope this guide sort of helped you out, and I'll see you when I see you.